All right, three outstanding spinners that Afghanistan have in their ranks. Mujib, it was reported, was injured, but he's expected to take the field when it comes to that India encounter. Sunil Gavaskar still with us. Sunil, when it comes to playing the spinners, we saw that the Indian batsmen didn't have a great time versus the New Zealand spinners in that previous match. How do you reckon they're going to tackle the Afghanistan spinners? Because just comparing man to man, it might just be an even tougher challenge now.
Definitely, yes. I think you've got to say that the Afghanistan spinner, Rashid Khan in particular, is going to be a bigger challenge than, say, an Ish Sodhi or an Imad Wasim. And therefore, India really need to step up. India really need to be aggressive. India need to get down the pitch a little bit more to counter the turn. There won't be much turn here in Abu Dhabi or for that matter, in Dubai as well. So I think you've got to try and throw the bowler off by trying to step down the pitch, make him change his length, make him change his line, do something different to both these bowlers. Because if you don't do that, then they're going to bowl their 4 overs for say 25 or 30 runs, and that's going to be tremendous. Because if you bowl 8 overs for say about 50, 55, 60 runs, you've done a fabulous job for your team.
Okay. Simon, what do you think that the Indian batsmen can learn from the innings that we saw by Jos Buttler? Because that was a situation where they lost 3 wickets and then he's a naturally aggressive batsman but curtailed that instinct and then got his team to as far as 160 plus. I was listening to Jos during that encounter and he said at one point, I was just looking at 120. We went to 160. That's another matter because a lot has been spoken that India, if they're batting first, needs to get a very, very big total. But the way Jos Buttler played, is there a lesson there for the Indian batsmen going forward?
But clearly, I think a win is not just a must, but a massive win is a must. So I think at this particular point of time, the think tank will be looking at what they should be doing, whether they should be batting first, whether they should be bowling first. Because provided it goes to a situation where it's a net run rate situation, then you've got to have a massive win margin to be able to qualify for the semi-finals. And that has also got to be at the back of their minds. Yes, I know that sometimes you can think too far ahead, but in such a scenario where you're already lost 2 matches and you've got to win the remaining 3 matches, you have to be just a little bit more proactive. And I do hope that the Indian batsmen in particular are proactive, because that is the one way they'll ensure that India has a massive win.
As Sunil Gavaskar says, the batsmen need to be proactive. One way of doing that is, apart from the approach, is sort that batting order as well. And I'm going to talk about Rohit Sharma here, Sunil. Just some numbers that we're putting on this screen. Very interesting numbers. These are from 2018. Every time Rohit Sharma opens the inning for India in T20Is and he goes on to get a 50, and I'm looking at 7 matches there, it's a 100% win record for India. Just tells you how important he is as an opener. Every time he fires, India go on to win 100% of their T20I games. Every time he gets out for less than 10 runs, India only win 12.5% of their games. We just heard from the batting coach in Vikram Rathore saying that it was a management decision where even Rohit Sharma was part of that strategy, where they decided not to have too many left-handers in the middle, and that's why they didn't open with him. But looking at these numbers, can you think of any other position for Rohit, if not as an opener?
He's got to bat at the top of the order. It's as simple as that. Let's forget what happened in the previous game. You saw that it didn't work, and so therefore you've got to go in for somebody like Rohit Sharma. What it does, it actually helps a young Ishan Kishan. If Surya Kumar Yadav is not fit still, it helps a young Ishan Kishan, because when he goes down the order, there are few overs left. Then he can swing his bat merrily, because there is no question of doing anything otherwise than swinging the bat. So I think it will actually help Ishan Kishan if he's batting down at 5 or 6, because that's the situation he'll find himself in. But like you just showed the figures just now, open with Rohit Sharma, because Rohit Sharma is the kind of batsman, once he plays even 15 overs, you're pretty much guaranteed to get about 180 to 200.
Okay, the other question could be with regards to Surya Kumar Yadav. Last game, he wasn't dropped of the team. We got to know he's got back spasm and that's why he couldn't play. Assuming that he'd be fit, would you bring him into the side because he's, that way very fluid, can bat at any position, or you'd rather stick with the team that India went with as far as the batting is concerned versus New Zealand?
Well, look at the way he started against Pakistan with that flick of Shaheen Afridi for a 6. So he's capable of those big shots. And remember, he's got very happy memories of the Abu Dhabi ground. So clearly, I think he's got to come back. I know it's a little bit hard on young Ishan Kishan, but he's got plenty of time ahead of him. And clearly, I think somebody who seems a better option. And to be at the moment, Surya Kumar Yadav seems a better option than Ishan.
The only other thing that the Indian team would look at is their spinners as well. They already made a change as far as the fast bowling lineup was concerned in the previous game. Now, questions over Varun Chakravarti. He's gone wicketless in the 2 games that he's played. Some may even say that the difference between IPL and international cricket may be too much for the moment, or some people have figured him out. What would you like to see? Bring on someone like a Ravichandran Ashwin? Is that an option? Though, again, I'm looking at the Afghanistan batting. They've only got 2 lefties and only 1 lefty in the top order. That's the opener that they have. So what would you like the Indian team to go with?
Well, a top-class spinner like Ravichandran Ashwin doesn't make a difference whether he's bowling to a right hand or a left hand. And then having a look at the number of mystery spinners that Afghanistan themselves are. Look at, Mujib and some of the other players who are not actually playing in the 11. They have a plethora of all these mystery spinners, and therefore it might be a little bit easy for them to pick Varun Chakravarti. So definitely I would go in with somebody like a Ravichandran Ashwin. If at all they're looking for somebody to slow the pace of the surface, then you would look at Rahul Chahar as well. But there's no harm in thinking of going in with 3 spinners also. And maybe not have somebody like a Shardul Thakur play, or maybe not even have a Shami play and have a Shardul Thakur. So go in with 2 seamers and 3 spinners. And because if Hardik Pandya can come in and bowl your 2 overs of medium pace, or 3 overs of medium pace, you will still have 3 medium pacers in your team.
All right, that's very interesting there from Sunil Gavaskar. Says that's another option that India can go in with. Bring in 3 spinners. You could then drop Shardul Thakur. Just one question from Afghanistan's perspective, Sunil. One of their more experienced campaigner in Asghar Afghan retires in the middle of the tournament. He's the guy who's played, I think, 114 odd ODIs for his team, captained them for their first test match. An experienced player like him going out now won't be available for that India game. How does that impact the setup of the Afghanistan team?
It impacts massively, because look at the experience you talked about. He's been their captain in all 3 formats of the game. He's got that massive experience. I just don't understand how people come for a tournament and then in the middle decide that they're not going to complete the tournament. They have to go through the entire tournament and then announce in the middle of the tournament that they're going to retire after the tournament is over. But once you have come as part of the team, then you see selection committees pick teams depending on who's who. And they would have picked the team depending on Asghar Afghan being available right through. Now suddenly he's up and gone, and he's left the team in a lurch. So that is certainly going to be a big blow for Afghanistan.
Okay, in case Mujib is fit, then he's most likely to come into the playing 11. Didn't play the last match in place of Asghar Afghan. Sunil, we're completely out of time. Thanks so much for joining us with those thoughts. And before we wrap up, here's wishing everyone a very happy Dhanteras. And here's hoping that India do strike gold when they take on Afghanistan. You are watching Battle of Champions.